Hi, I'm Kim Coco. This 30-minute segment is going to be on some myofascial and yin for the lower body. Now, it's a continuation of a 30-minute practice for the upper body, so you can combine them if you are working to release tension in the whole body from golf, any other asymmetrical activity that you do on a regular basis, or just life in general. It can be a nice practice to do before bed as well. So, props, a strap. Use 2 tennis balls for the first segment, but you will only need 1 this time around. And we're actually going to go ahead and start to lie on your back first. If you want to see where we're going before you lie down, you're welcome to. What we're going to do is we're actually going to move the tennis ball, we'll be on our backs, around the rim of the pelvis here, from where the sacrum is, up around this iliac crest. And we're going to move it through glute max over towards glute medius to get into this nice juicy area that can hold a lot of tension, and eventually work our way into some twists after we open up this space. So, on your back, decide which you want to do first. I'm going to use the right. So I'm going to place both soles of the feet on the ground, bend the knees, lift the hips, and then find a spot fairly close to where the sacrum and the iliac crest meet. So it's kind of in that more toward the midline of the body. And you're going to notice your weight automatically starts to shift. So what I do to counteract that balance is I'm going to bend my knee out to the right. Whew. And you might already notice some tension here. And you can choose to rest your hands on your body. You can rest your hands by your side. Whatever's going to feel the most balanced for you. And we're going to hold here. We're going to hold on each side for a few minutes, but we're going to move throughout the process. So take the first few rounds of breath here and let it sink in. Let the meat of your muscle wrap around your tennis ball. Can you soften your toes, even your fingers, and start to feel the back of your head get heavier, and the back of your shoulder blades rest on your mat. So there's an evenness in the body, even in this one-sided posture. Find about a 30 to 50% rhythm of breath. That's relatively even. That's easy to maintain and easy to observe. And a reminder that you don't always have to work hard to reap changes in your life. It's not always hard to come back to balance. It can be as simple as showing up and letting your body work its magic. Slowly begin to roll the tennis ball a little bit closer toward the side of your body. So maybe it's about halfway now between the spine and the side of your body. And you might have to readjust your weight so that left knee can point straight up towards the ceiling. If you want to make it more intense, you can drop the left knee over to the right some. So you're almost in a partial twist of sorts. If you did not get an upper body stretch previously, you can always take the arms out to the side, maybe bend the elbows. Got a nice stretch for the external rotators of the arms. And every time you come into a new point of pressure, can you soften your jaw and your throat, making way for the body to release any hidden tension or resistance. Slowly begin to move again on the tennis ball. So maybe moves 3/4 of the way closer to the side of the body from your original place closest to the spine. And again, you might have to rock your weight over a little further still to add to the stretch. You might notice some pulsating or some tingling. Ideally, we don't want to have tingling go on for a long period of time because we're changing how your nervous system is able to connect with the rest of the body. So see if you can just find a place of pressure and then breathe there. Obviously, we don't want pain. If you feel pain, come back out and reassess if this is a good posture for you or if you just need to back off some. Moving over again still, so now you're maybe 9/10 of the way over, and you might even actually start to roll a little bit onto your right side. So you're really more onto that glute medius now. Really important hip stabilizer. And that left knee again can still point straight up, or you can drop it over to the right to intensify the stretch. And then for the last little bit on this side, see if you can roll all the way onto your right side, prop yourself up onto your right elbow. The right knee can still be bent some, or a lot, or a little. And then see if you can literally feel this tennis ball right almost just behind the side seam of your pants. So it's still in this nice fleshy area of the glute, but you're still above where the femur rests in the hip socket. And you can take that left foot behind you, you can take it out in front of you. But imagine rocking your weight relatively even, so as though your left ribs were stacked on top of your right. The tendency is to want to lean back, and it might be too intense to lean more forward right off the bat. So decide what's going to feel good. Maybe scoot down a little bit, rocking your whole body a little bit forward or rolling it over the tennis ball so the tennis ball moves down a little bit toward your feet. And the right ear can drop toward the right shoulder. Maybe roll over just a skosh more. And then slowly start to roll off of your tennis ball entirely. Come onto your back again, and this time grab your strap. We're going to go ahead and loop up the ball mount of the right foot for a nice hamstring stretch. So take each part of the strap in one hand. You might even wrap the strap around your hands to create a little more leverage. And then you can keep this left knee bent and on the floor, foot on the floor, or you can extend the leg out. But ideally, we want those arms straight up in space, reaching up toward the foot so that the upper arm bones can drop back into the socket and gravity can use bone stacked on bone to alleviate any additional tension being stored in the biceps to help hold your leg up in space. And then maybe lift your head slightly and look down at your left leg. If it's extended, can you line it up so that left leg would be ideally where you would stand on it, just hip distance apart or so, instead of dangling out to the side. And then reach through the heel for the first few rounds of breath here on that left leg if it's extended. Definitely reach up in space with the right heel as the right leg moves toward the ceiling. Getting a nice stretch for the hamstrings. And if the left leg is extended, some of the quadriceps and iliopsoas. Maybe micro bend behind the right knee Keep a softness there so you're not locking at the joints. And then wherever you are, can the back of your head get heavier once again? Can even your hands get heavier? Can the back of your pelvis get heavier? And this time let the left foot relax if it's extended, as though it's in Shavasana. There's a lot less effort going on to make this pose happen. Maybe readjust if you need to for these last few rounds of breath. And then from there, go ahead and take the strap, both parts of the strap, into your left hand. Keep the right hand on the right hip and push the right hip away from the right side ribs and slowly draw a line with that left or the right foot across to the left side of your body, probably only like a third of the way to start, so that you can feel the stretch in the whole lateral edge of the leg, the IT band. Keep turning your belly button up toward the ceiling, reaching up through the right heel, as well as the outer edge and inner edge of the right foot. Maybe readjust the grip on the strap so the left arm can drop down, right arm can drop down. And then on your next exhale, let's go ahead and slowly rock all the way onto the outer edge of the body on the left side. Readjust the strap if you need to, or grab the right foot with the left hand. And then take this into your nice open twist so that right arm can rest out. You can rest the foot on your on your tennis ball or block. If you have a block close by, that can be really handy. Let the right elbow drop toward the floor, but still feel the right hip move away from the right side ribs, and then reach out through the inner and outer edge of the right foot evenly. Then soften the left hip down, soften both shoulder blades toward the mat, and especially the back of your head toward the floor. Got about another minute here, so settle in. If you do want to make it more intense for the lats, you can extend that right arm up at a diagonal, breathing all the way up underneath the armpit, the whole right side. But notice if you're holding anywhere to make the twist happen, let it go. As you inhale next, go ahead and take your right arm up toward the ceiling. Exhale the right hand down toward the floor. We're going to roll all the way onto your left side, over onto your belly. Now, this is where the fun part comes. Move your props out of the way. We're going to come onto your belly and onto your forearms like you would for Sphinx. So elbows are underneath the shoulders. And ideally here, the knee is in line with the hip, and the shin and the shin and the upper leg are 90 degrees. Now, you can flex the foot, come onto the top of the left foot, and then lengthen your spine out away from the pelvis. So you actually draw the elbows in towards your spine and lengthen the top of your body and take almost like this half frog pose. You're welcome to stay here as you feel this right hip drop toward the floor. If you want to make it more intense, start to straighten that right leg, and that would ideally move out about hip height. So find what's going to work for you. You have another 2 minutes or so here. So settle in as best you can. Feel the frontal hip bones melting down toward the floor. Feel the shoulder blades melting down the back. Notice if anywhere is trying to help in this pose. Let gravity do the work. Breathe all the way down to your low back, down to the hips, down to the feet. Obviously, if you want to go deeper for the last minute, you can straighten your arms and take more of a seal position in yin. So wherever you are, find some stillness with the body. On your next inhale, slowly begin to unwind your legs and roll onto your back once again, pausing in Shavasana, noticing a significant difference probably right to left, and relish those sensations. Amplify them with your awareness. And then when you're ready, slowly rebend the knees. Place the soles of the feet on the floor, starting with our tennis ball again. Begin to press the floor away, lift the hips up, and start with the tennis ball just next to the sacrum, below the rim of the pelvis, so you're not on any bone here. Take any arm position that's going to work for you. Arms by your side, arms out at T, maybe bent elbows. And then both knees can point more toward the ceiling, or you're welcome to drop the left knee out to the side to kind of counteract the weight or that awkwardness of the tennis ball under the hip. Hopefully, as you settle in here bit by bit, the breath can stay even. The body knows what's coming, so thanks to your work on the first side, might be able to release a little bit quicker. You can stay on this pressure point for a few more moments. And then still making sure the tennis ball is below the rim of the pelvis. Rock more onto your left, so the tennis ball is about halfway between the spine and the side seam of the body. Dropping the left knee over as far as you need to intensify the stretch in a way that feels good still. But even though the right hip might come off of the floor and the right shoulder blade might want to come off the floor, can you soften the body down? With your closed eyes, can you tune away from external sensations, stimuli, distractions, to really connect with what you feel internally? Again, move the tennis ball a little bit closer to the side of the body, maybe 3/4 of the way over. You might notice again that this side feels different. Maybe easier, maybe more intense. But can you be okay with what you find? And soften in again. Let the weight of your body drop over your tennis ball. As you take your next few rounds of breath on this point, let go anywhere you can. Make your way over 9/10 of the way to that side seam of the body. And notice if deeper or backing off seems best to you. As you're ready, slowly roll onto your left side. Prop yourself up with your left elbow. Careful if your tennis ball starts to roll away on you. It might do that. Stick it back under the glute medius there, right behind that seam of your pants, most likely. You can let the left shoulder shrug up to the ear. And you can slowly start to drop more weight onto the left side of the hip. Let the left side of the body drop toward the floor so you get a nice little side stretch as well. Maybe take some of the weight off of your body with that right foot. You can play with straightening the bottom leg or bending it more if you need to. Maybe drop the left shoulder toward the ear or left ear toward the shoulder. Maybe scoot up a little bit so the tennis ball moves more toward the feet. And if you can, notice where your torso is in space. Notice if you're leaning weight backwards or forward, depending on where you're trying to get into the stretch. But soften it as best you can. Maybe move up again. For another round of breath or two. Ooh. And maybe one more time, up a little higher, meaning the tennis ball goes more toward your feet. And then slowly begin to make your way onto your back. Grab your strap again. This time loop it up around the sole of the left foot. Reach the left leg up in space. Bend the right knee as you need to. Grab the strap with both hands or both parts of the strap with both hands. Feel the left femur move toward the back edge of your mat, so it's moving away from your torso. And actually feel the femur lift up out of the hip slightly, so you're actually reaching up and back as you draw the shin more toward your face. And again, re-extend that right leg if you did the first time. Make sure the right leg is in line with the right hip bone. Activate the whole right leg so the back edge of the leg sinks down onto your mat to help ground you. As all 5 toes on the right foot point toward the ceiling, and then the left leg reaches up toward the ceiling through the left heel. You're going to have a couple minutes here, so notice, can you ease your way in instead of trying to push to your deepest stretch right off the bat? And can you allow the casual rhythm of the breath to help open the body? Slowly deactivate the right leg as though it was moving toward Shavasana. Feel the left hip move toward the edge of your mat, so that the left side body remains long. Maybe notice how you utilize this energy as you open up the channels in the body that might have been harboring restriction and keeping that energy from flowing smoothly. Notice how it changes at a visceral level of the body. Notice how it affects the thought patterns of the mind. And your ability to take action in the numerous areas of your life. Slowly take the straps into your right hand this time. Take your left hand to your left hip and slowly draw your left foot across to the right side of your body, keeping the left hip, anchored down as you reach up through the left heel, inner and outer edge of the left foot, so that this left side body creates the stability for the stretch to take place all the way up the outer left leg. If you are more flexible, you could take that left foot closer toward the right armpit, so you're moving it up in space toward your head as well as over to the right. And as you exhale, next, slowly take that left leg all the way across your body to the right. So now taking this more into a spinal twist, allowing the left foot to be supported by a block on the right side of your body. Left arm can move out to the side. You might even take your left hand to your left hip, move it out away from your left side ribs. Maybe dropping the left shoulder blade a little closer to the mat, allowing the back of the head to look up to rest on the floor, and your face can look up at the ceiling, or you can open up your gaze to the left, or you can keep some softness in your neck and even gaze right. It on the first time, you can take that angled position of the left arm up toward the left corner of your mat to get underneath the left armpit with your breath. Can you unclench anywhere? Your next inhale, reach the left arm up toward the ceiling. Slowly take it over toward the right side of your body. Roll onto your right side, all the way onto your belly. Same options apply for our half frog pose this time. So right leg stretches back behind you. Left knee moves out to the side, equal to your left hip. Or you can straighten the leg. Arm positions apply. Relatively stable posture with the elbows underneath the shoulders, hugging the elbows back in space, pressing the forearms into the ground, and lengthening the front side of the body as you drop both frontal hip bones toward the floor. Feeling a bit tongue-tied today. So soften the shoulders down. Can you get heavier across the front of your pelvis this time? For your last minute, can you settle in as best you can? Slowly begin to unwind on your next exhale. Roll over onto your back and check in. Maybe internally and externally rotate the legs, let them flop out. Take your arms out to the sides. Take a few moments here in your Shavasana to take rest and absorb the changes from your practice. Stay longer if your time permits it. Or take a nice stretch with the whole body again. Eventually drawing the knees up to the chest. Maybe rocking a little side to side. Before rolling over to one side and making your way up to a seat again. Pausing with the hands at the heart, bowing your gaze. Thankful for the changes you've made in such a short time on your mat today. Changes of the body, mind, and spirit that last long after your practice ends. Thank you for sharing your time and energy with me today. Namaste.